I'd say to entering Newmark students that you're in for an exhilarating ride. I remember being in J-School and a former student came to speak to our student body at the time, and someone asked her, is it harder to work in the field or is it harder to be in J-School? And I will never forget, she answered that it's harder to be in J-School. And it made sense at the time because I felt like we were doing so much, but I promise you the work that you do is rewarding, it's exhilarating, it opens up your mind to so many things. And by the time you get out there into the world, you are more than prepared. One thing I would say I learned in J-School that stayed with me within my work is to work smart, work hard, and also seek the truth. Always seek the truth. Make sure you get the facts as down as you can. Even in writing a book, although it's fiction, I became kind of obsessed with making sure I got most of it right. And there's a part of it that is historical fiction. So for me, getting that part of it correct was very important because I remember my time at Newmark and making sure the facts are straight. And then even working in the field, making sure you get the story as accurately as you possibly can, because at the end of the day, you want to tell the truth. And that was what I was seeking, the truth. So that, I would say, has impacted my work greatly, making sure I am accurate and on point. At what point does a journalist know they've become a journalist? That's an interesting question. For me, I would say you will know when you're doing an assignment that feels very important to you. It feels like you want to get it right for the people that you're doing the story about. And it feels like you're making an impact. That I would say is key. You know, I've had moments like that in doing documentaries for CUNY TV that ended up on PBS, you know, about some of the monuments down in Birmingham, Alabama that were landmarked. They were very key locations during the civil rights movement. So when those areas were landmarked, or when those buildings were landmarked, we were able to cover it. And for me, that was pivotal because I was standing on the grounds of places where Martin Luther King stood and planned. And also the children of the civil rights movement that went out into the streets and were hosed down and dogs were sicked on them. And it was just very, very life-changing in a lot of ways. So getting the story right, getting the story to be good and to represent myself as a journalist and my team that I worked with was key. And that's when I would say I felt most like a journalist. Being in that building was amazing in the sense that I've met so many amazing people that I'm still friends with, I'm still cool with to this day. I still call on and have rallied around me during amazing times in my life and my career, and I'm so grateful for those relationships. I'm grateful for the relationships I was able to foster with faculty and people that really stood out in the sense of teaching us and informing us on what things would be like when we get out into the world. That is priceless. Relationships, I would say, was probably the most important thing that I was able to foster at Newmark J-School.